Very much, Mr. Watkins.
Thank you to the panel for being here. The violations of intellectual property, are those perpetrated by non-state actors in China or just the government?
I mentioned earlier that I testified in March about the role that China's cybersecurity standards regime play in tech transfer and IP theft. And I want to highlight that because I think these will continue to be problems even if we get a trade deal. There are over 300 domestic cybersecurity standards in China, which as part of doing business require things like invasive source code reviews and other kinds of sensitive information. This is a channel for IP theft that has nothing to do with state actors or even joint ventures. It's something that I think is somewhat under the radar, but will continue to be an issue. So the answer is much beyond the state actor. It's the whole regulatory structure.
Can I just add that I think one step that the United States could take would be to require Chinese firms to disclose their ownership structure before they enter the U.S. market, in part because the distinction between state and private is not always as clear as it appears on the surface. So, when a Chinese citizen enters the United States, they have to provide 5 years of their residence on a form. We should be doing the same thing for Chinese companies in terms of exposing their ownership structure. It's not barring them, it's just imposing a level of transparency that we're currently not imposing.
Could I add also, going back to the discussion we had a few minutes ago about sanctions, if we're interested in deterring future theft, we have to impose costs on those who have been identified as engaging in theft. And that, to me, is one reason for using the tool of sanctions in a targeted way against companies, entities, where we can prove that they've been involved in theft of intellectual property.
In 2018, China published their Arctic policy, which painted a picture of their vision. Can anybody comment on what the U.S. should be doing? They have a pretty aggressive vision, particularly along the lines of trade routes, scientific research, I suppose. Any comments on that? If not, that's fine. I will yield the remainder of my time. Thank you.